It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, answer, yes! Caught! Touchdown, they did it!
Welcome, Full Court Press. I'm Jason Walker. Got Eric Franson along for the ride on this Tuesday.
What's going on? It's a windy Tuesday.
Yeah, windy. It was rainy last night. I'm still enjoying all the rain that's coming down and, how nice and cool it's been. Really liking that. Now looking forward to the likely blistering hot July and August we're probably setting up for. But who knows? We keep.
I know this
rain.
June's been kind of cool, right? Because in the morning, sometimes it's the warmest part of the day. it gets sunny, it starts to heat up a little, and then you have the cloud cover roll in, a little sprinkle, cools it off. It's been great.
Yeah,
I can reduce my lawn watering, save a little cash that way. Turn down the AC.
We were forced to reduce our lawn watering in years past, or at least we were supposed to reduce it. This year. It's like you don't even have to.
Yeah. Not yet.
If you are watering it, it means you're not paying attention. So it's certainly kind of an exciting day, or at least yesterday, for at least one NBA franchise. New NBA champion has been crowned, first ever for the Denver Nuggets. They come away with I think it was 94-89. It was kind of embarrassing because I'd watched the game and then my brother came in and was like, who won? It's like, it was the Nuggets won. Like, what was the score? I was like, I don't know. I was watching the game. That's the thing. In football, you can usually remember the score. It's pretty memorable, mostly because there's not a whole lot of scoring. I mean, in soccer and these other, where there's, maybe 5 or 6 instances of scoring in a game. But in basketball, you're scoring every 30 seconds. Like, what's the final score? I don't know. Usually I can tell you how much they won by. Because maybe that's what I'm keeping track of in my head is how much a team's winning or losing by. It was I don't know. They won by 4 or 5 points. It was close.
It was close. It was closer than the final score seemed to indicate. No, there were stretches in that game where Miami was in control. It was a more physical game, scrappy game for both teams. Really bad first half for Denver. They come out and reassert themselves in the third quarter. Kind of take charge. Miami doesn't go away quietly. Jimmy Butler starts making threes in the fourth quarter. Threes or 3 free throws at a time. There's a controversial foul in the three-point attempt, but
yeah, it didn't end up impacting me. It's almost good that Denver won because the screeching would have been nonstop over that. And I didn't even think it was that bad of a call. People acting like it was the most blatant, obvious missed call since the non-PI call against the Saints. It was I get it. It wasn't the most obvious call to make for, Jimmy Butler for the foul, but people acting like it was a horrible call.
Gordon came into his landing zone.
The thing is that the argument is that Jimmy
Butler kicked his foot out and got...
The thing is, that people say that the people say that Jimmy Butler kicked his leg out, and he did, but in a way that a ton of people do.
Right.
His thigh is at a pretty shallow angle, and then it goes to his knee, and his leg goes straight down. Jimmy Butler's leg didn't kick out that much. It was a pretty natural, given that it was a fadeaway. And yeah, Aaron Gordon hit Jimmy Butler's foot with his parts.
With his what? With his parts?
Yeah, with his nether regions. And so it's a really weird foul, but I didn't think it was nearly as bad as people were making it out to be. Mostly because I interpreted what kicking out the leg is different. So he didn't kick out his leg that much.
So let me pose this to you. Are you happy for the Nuggets? Are you conflicted about seeing them win a championship? Because they're regional. I mean, they're in the mountain time zone, the Rocky Mountain city. There's been some rivalry between Utah and Denver over the years. But are you happy for them that they won the championship? Are you conflicted? Are you disappointed? Do you feel like there's been some of this going around today over the last, 24, 36 hours that, gosh, if the Jazz could have held things together, maybe they could have made a run this year in these playoffs with the team that they had, and maybe made a difference here. 435-339-0321. How are you feeling today as the NBA championship is in the trophies and all the accolades are in Denver now?
I don't feel like bad that Denver won it. The thing I feel more is just, jealousy that I'd like, because you're seeing what Denver's experiencing as far as first ever championship. Basically whenever you have this small market team win a championship, it's this glorious thing. Portland, they get to hang on to that one championship. It exists in their franchise history. Like, RSL, you look at their, maybe they won't be able to win a championship again. Maybe they will. But if not, they have the one in their history.
Yeah, and it's never taken away.
Yeah, and it's always going to be there. That star above the RSL logo always gets to be there, a constant reminder that RSL has finished at the top of the league. The Jazz can't say that. The Nuggets now can. And I feel more happy for the Nuggets. I was hoping they would win. I probably came across as a bit of a Nuggets fan during the season, the way I've really sided with, Nikola Jokic and kind of against this, I don't want to use the term like mainstream media, but like the talking heads of big sports networks that constantly demeans Nikola Jokic, calling him the worst MVP ever, and just constantly degrading him and the Nuggets as this sideshow to the big city teams, the Lakers, or just the big names, the Kevin Durant's and all that. And I ended up siding with the Nuggets and really believing in them. And got proven right in that sense. I really believed that Nikola Jokic was the best player in basketball, and he proved that. And the Nuggets proved that they were the best team in the NBA this year. There's really no doubt in my mind. They were the best team, and they proved it. And so for me, there is a bit of jealousy that Denver gets to experience the one thing that I want for the Jazz. But it's nice that they do get to experience that. It was kind of like when Cleveland had this same thing, where they got to experience that. Maybe it was first time in forever championship. I don't know if the Cavaliers franchise had ever won it. But, even as a city, it had been forever since they'd won a championship in anything.
Yeah. Denver's a city that's had championships. The Avalanche in the NHL, the Broncos in the NFL. So they've had championships in their city before.
But not the Nuggets franchise.
But not in the NBA. Right, not for the franchise for their NBA franchise in that town. So I'm happy for Denver. They're a Rocky Mountain team. I like that. I've never been an anti-Jokic or an anti-Murray guy. I don't. These Nuggets don't bother me like the Carmelo Anthony Nuggets bothered me. That was a franchise that I just really detested. But this iteration, you know what? I think it's a well-run organization. Yeah, I think there's a rivalry there, but it's a healthy rivalry. It's okay, you're close to us. Geographically, there's a lot of similarities, but we're going to try to one-up you. But not like it's, oh my gosh, I can't stand those guys.
Yeah, I've never felt a poisonous side to the Colorado-Utah rivalry, and really basically any sport. The only sport where it's kind of gotten a bit crazy has been MLS with the RSL versus Colorado Rapids. But the Rapids, or Crapids, as I like to call them, the Rapids haven't been very good. So, like, the trophy that's actually that gets passed back and forth, well, theoretically gets passed back and forth, it hasn't been doing much back and forth recently. RSL's hung on to it for like several years straight. It's a fun little trophy. I've actually gotten to hold it before. So
Yeah, trophy games are fun.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I like the Heat culture. I admire that franchise for what they do and how they do it.
You're saying Heat or Nuggets?
Heat.
Okay.
But throughout this whole experience, I was rooting for Denver. Miami has won several championships. It's not like I'm not one of those. It's you've had your turn, now give it to somebody else. I'm not one of those guys. But I just have felt like this Miami team, great story getting to where they got to this point, but I never felt like this was a championship team. Denver has looked like a championship team. They played the basketball the right way, where they didn't take games off. They didn't load manage. They played good basketball from start to finish, and they're at the top of the mountain.
I'd say the Heat were worthy of a championship. The way they went through that Eastern Conference, they played like a championship team. I think the problem just goes down to Denver just being that good. Talked about it a little bit last week, just how Denver is really just this good. Like, as great as Miami was playing, as well as they did to take down the teams that they did, to bounce back from everything, or just, play hard and not always give teams a chance to bounce back. They did let Boston bounce back, but they didn't let Milwaukee or New York do that. But they just stuck to every challenge and made it through, ugly or not. Denver, it was never ugly for them. I think they lost 4 games the entire playoffs.
Postseason.
So they made it look easy from beginning to end. I know some people are knocking on the fact that they ended up playing like 2 8 seeds. I think the Lakers were, a 7 seed? And then they played Phoenix was like a 3 or I don't know, something like that. They're talking about the supposedly playing weak teams. Of course, if Denver hadn't faced LA or Phoenix, they'd have been like, and somebody else pointed this out before I said it. I'm not the first person to say this, but had the Nuggets not played those, they'd be downplaying Denver's championship by saying, "Oh, he didn't play Kevin Durant or Devin Booker or LeBron James, Anthony Davis. He only played Ja Morant or Karl Anthony Towns or whoever they would have played if they'd not faced Phoenix and LA and Minnesota." So I know some people are already trying to downplay the Nuggets championship, but Nikola Jokic absolutely dominated these playoffs. The Denver Nuggets dominated these playoffs. There was a clear best team here.
Murray elevated his game.
And that's the thing. Murray is probably an underrated player. Heck, half the Denver Nuggets are underrated in this case. They were a really great team.
They were, and they're positioned to run it back. They don't really have salary cap issues. They don't have really expensive salaries that will be hard to keep. They've got youth. They've made a move here just recently, kind of quietly, with some things they did with their future draft picks to position themselves in a way to continue to get young talent to draft and develop. In the case of somewhere down the line, they're going to lose a piece or two. It's inevitable. But they're positioning themselves in a way that they can continue to keep their pipeline open and continue to develop players. So are this – I know I've heard this a lot from last night through today. Is Denver starting a new dynasty? Well, they just won 1 championship. And let's not get ahead of ourselves. And Nikola Jokic, is he among the best centers of all time? He just won his first championship. So he had a great run. Denver had a great season and a great run through the playoffs. But I don't know if I'm ready to start adding all this extra stuff on top of them. Because what did we say about the Kansas City Chiefs a few years ago? In Mahomes. Oh, this is going to be the start of the great run of all these years of championships. Well, they've been a good team, but it wasn't a successive run of championships for that team. Different things happen along the way. Other teams get better, things change. So it was a great run for Denver. Happy for them, sure. Looking at it makes me feel a little sad that wasn't Utah, because Utah had opportunities to do that, and they just fell apart in the postseason. Their coaching staff couldn't recognize adjustments, or players wouldn't make adjustments, And the Jazz had opportunities as the best team in the NBA, but weren't able to seal the deal and move on.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the Jazz having that same chance, maybe I'm using hindsight, the 2020 hindsight, a little too much. But there's difference between this Denver team, and any of the Jazz teams. I know some people are getting upset over Rudy Gobert tweeting out, and maybe the potentially cryptic Denver didn't give up on its guys. But Denver didn't give up on its guys. One of them was injured for like 2 straight years. And one of them was winning back-to-back MVPs while the other was injured.
Yeah.
So don't compare this Denver team to anything the Jazz have been doing.
It's very true.
Like, Rudy Gobert was Defensive Player of the Year. He was not MVP. He was not out there single-handedly just absolutely being outstanding in the playoffs. You know, Jokic, for all the lack of success he'd kind of been having in the playoffs, at least his team, he's been kind of quietly one of the best playoff performers in the NBA for about as long as he's been going to the playoffs. The performances he's put up in the playoffs have been historic, even when he hasn't been successful in winning series. And this year they were just able to put it all together because they were finally having some teams around him, finally some health. Jamal Murray coming back from his, injury troubles. So that's the thing with Denver. Utah, they gave up on their players because they kept failing. Denver didn't give up on their players because they were patient in letting their players get back on the floor at all. So there is a difference between Denver and Utah, and a very clear difference.
Yeah, there is. There is. There's a little sting of jealousy, sure. But it also read some interesting things, too. That the Denver Nuggets, as an organization, had an opportunity to trade for Kyrie Irving and chose not to. They chose to believe in their young core and develop them and stick with them. And today is the fruit of that decision. Today, they're celebrating as NBA champions.
I think it certainly shows a level of patience. Maybe it shows just being smart. I don't know when. I know I saw that story and it came out. I wasn't sure when that potentially could have happened, but if you're paying attention to Kyrie Irving like the last 5 years of his career, trading for him at this point is a really stupid move. And I know back then Jamal Murray was still injured, and so it's like, trading a guy that you're not sure is ever going to be healthy again for Kyrie Irving, who has a championship under his belt. So, in hindsight, that would have been a stupid trade. But it's hard to see that far forward when you're point guard. How many games did Jamal Murray miss?
Yeah.
There's a lot like Klay Thompson where he just missed a ton of time and took forever to get back into form.
Right.
Because of the devastating nature of his injuries. But Denver certainly did show some patience and, a lot of smarts in building their team. And this is a team that traded away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert on draft day. They traded away a future Defensive Player of the Year, a future All-Star, a guy scoring, 27, 28 points per game in the regular season. They fumbled those guys away, and they still built a championship team. That's pretty special.
Yeah. 6543 texting in, the officiating in last night's game was sketchy. If you're not going to call anything, the players need to wear more protective equipment. They get paid a ton of money, too.
That was kind of the interesting thing in the last few possessions, especially when Nikola Jokic would get the ball. And a couple times he was posted up on smaller players. I think one was Kyle Lowry, and I think the other was Caleb Martin. And holy cow, Kyle Lowry and Caleb Martin were absolutely mugging him. Of course, Jokic was doing it back. It was like UFC.
He fully bully balled those guys.
And I loved it. I was like, man, I love watching this.
Yeah, big man, go to work.
Like big man is trying to absolutely bully them into the next dimension, and they're going back. They're slugging and throwing like Muhammad Ali down there, and not giving an inch, absolutely refusing to get an inch, even though they are completely outclassed in terms of weight class. And I think they came away I think they ended up getting steals on both possessions or turnovers or unsuccessful possessions. Even though, yeah, there were probably about 10 different fouls on both those post-ups. But I just love that. I love watching guys play physically. I know it is kind of sketch. It is kind of inconsistent. I don't know. I love it. These 94-89 games, and you get the last couple of possessions, and both teams are playing horribly on offense, and they're just beating each other up, just trying to get an open shot. I don't know. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I know there were stretches in the game, and Denver's historically had a little bit of a problem with losing their focus, complaining about referees and their decisions. And there were stretches of the second quarter where this was happening again. Denver was complaining about calls or no calls. Miami started to build the lead. They built a 10-point lead, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is game 2 all over again. But I have to give credit to that coaching staff and the players coming out of the second half, making their adjustments, staying focused on the game, and realizing, look, we may not get calls, but we're just going to go at it.
And I think the interesting thing about the Denver Nuggets is that when you talk about them only, losing 4 games, I think was the number they put out there that I remembered.
Yeah.
4 games the entire season, 16-4. That makes it sound like they just were rolling on easy street the entire playoffs. But that wasn't the case because, there were a lot of close games like that Lakers series. 4-game sweep, and I think all 4 games were really tight. Maybe the last game might have. Actually, I don't even think the last game was a blow. I think they were all close games, if I remember.
Let's see. First game divided by 6 points. Second by 5. Game 3 decided by 11. Game 4 decided by 2 points.
Okay, so kind of one double digit, but the others pretty close probably up until the end, maybe extended by a couple of free throws as far as the lead. But the entire playoffs, other teams were throwing haymakers. In game, they would go up, but Denver would respond. Every adjustment, everything everybody ever tried, and Denver always adjusted and managed to adjust in game. A lot of times teams they end up just getting blown out in one game, and then they come back with an adjustment and they're able to beat that, tactic that the team had used to, blow them out in one game. Denver would make those adjustments in game and then win the game. Is crazy. Denver had everything thrown at them, and they just beat it in the game. And they didn't say, we're going to wait till the next game to beat this adjustment. We're going to do it now. And we're going to end the series now. We're up 3-0 on the Lakers. We're not playing around. We're ending this now.
Yeah, Denver's going to be a formidable team for the next few years just because their core is still relatively young. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with these off-season moves as they start to develop now with who will and will not enter free agency, players who exercise their player option, trades that may happen within the next week leading up to the draft or on draft day, and then free agency gets underway shortly after that. So there's not much downtime here in the NBA with positioning yourself for what next year or future years might bring for your franchise.
As long as Denver's got the Jamal Murray-Nikola Jokic pairing going, then they can build around that. We know that's a championship duo. They can make that work. Now, clearly you have to have a lot of those good, B players, those secondary stars, or, those A-plus role players, the Michael Porter Jr.'s, Aaron Gordon's, and the like. Go down the list. You can, talk about the merits of each one. But those guys, they're somewhat common. You can find them, or at least find a player and mold them into your system if you do it right. That's how most of these guys got to where they are. Is they may not have been championship DNA guys, but they were molded into that by Denver's coaching staff, front office, the culture, and all these guys. So as long as they do have that core, that is always the purpose. Have the core and then find the right role players around them.
Right, because of the attention and role that Murray and Jokic play, it's going to provide opportunities for other guys to have moments because the pressure isn't going to be on them. Pressure's on the other guys, and because of how they play, they're going to find you, and you will have opportunities.
Yeah, as long as you've got guys who can fill the specific roles that, this team had. Aaron Gordon, a scrappy guy who can finish. You give him a dump-off pass, and he'll finish everything, or he'll chase offensive boards and help you steal extra possessions. Michael Porter Jr. can kind of be a third-level scorer, or third scorer on the team. Pick up the pace a little bit and sometimes win games kind of by himself. Maybe if your stars aren't having the greatest game. There exists those kind of players all around the league. Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon aren't the only two players in existence who can fit those roles on this team. Obviously, you'd like to keep them because they're guys can do that.
Right.
You don't want to let them go unnecessarily and bring in unknowns. The Lakers dealt with that after they won the championship in 2020. They thought, we can just reload completely new, different guys to fill all the great roles that their role players filled in that 2020 championship, and they got burned super bad by it.
Failed miserably.
So, and it took them several years just to get back to the Western Conference Finals. So, we'll see how things go for the Nuggets. I think next year they'll certainly be a favorite. They should be the favorite to win the title, but who knows? A lot of things can happen.
Yeah. What's going to happen in the Eastern Conference because it's getting better? How do other teams reload or reinvigorate their rosters? And a lot of that's going to be known within the next week to 10 days, really, because the draft is on the 22nd, and then free agency opens up shortly after that.
And we'll certainly be eyeing the draft for what the Jazz will do. But anyway, we got to take a quick break. I know we've labored this topic. I don't know how many people want to wax eloquent about the Denver Nuggets. But we're going to move on to a different topic. After the break, a former Aggie and longtime NFL kicker passed away over the weekend. Jim Turner passed away at the age of 82. We'll talk about just a bit of his legacy and also a legacy of Aggies in the Super Bowl. It kind of made us think about what the Aggies done in the Super Bowl because Jim Turner, he was in two different Super Bowls. One of them, he was part of one of the most famous Super Bowls in NFL history. We'll have that coming up after this on the Full Court Press.
If you're looking to make this Father's Day extra delicious, let Elements Restaurant take care of the barbecue for you. Elements Father's Day brisket dinner starts with a pound of juicy brisket for just $22, along with your choice of $5 sides, including Southwestern mac and cheese, coleslaw, and baked beans. This is a pre-order special and must be made by Friday, June 16th at noon. Pickup will be Saturday, June 17th. Elements Restaurant, where great food meets great memories this Father's Day. Call and reserve your barbecue brisket meal today. Elements Restaurant, 750-5171.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove wants to thank you for voting them 2 years running the gold medal winners in the Best of Northern Utah contest. With over 35 display models in their showroom, their goal is to make the process of making your home comfortable and cozy an easy experience. With premier brands like Napoleon and Dimplex, they have something for every style, every home, every budget. Building or renovating, they've got you covered. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You're sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond either natural or lab-grown from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
When a tiny drop causes a ripple and becomes a wave, it travels through all corners of the planet, sustains all forms of life, and provides streams of wonder, rivers of adventure, and oceans of discovery. One drop connects us all. Reserve your visit now to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, a nonprofit organization.
Summer is finally here. How do you protect your eyes from the sun? Crystal Vision, a Best of Northern Utah 2-time gold medalist, can build prescription sunglasses that match your style and feel. Crystal Vision sunglasses are perfect for golf, a drive in the car, watching ball games, or when you're out for a walk. Whatever your activity, their prescription sunglasses are made from the highest quality materials and components and feature interesting styles and lens colors. Your sunglasses will feel like they were made for you. Crystal Vision, online at crystalvision.com.
Did you know that the ideal time to have your wisdom teeth evaluated is between ages 14 to 16? While some people have room to keep them, most do not, and they can grow in at unnatural angles. This can lead to problems like headaches, jaw pain, gum disease, and infection. This is Dr. Devin Burns at Cache Valley Wisdom Teeth. Is it time to have your wisdom teeth removed? Call our office and mention this ad to receive a free panoramic x-ray and consultation. Our compassionate team at Cache Valley Wisdom Teeth will make your wisdom teeth removal comfortable and easy. Visit CacheValleyWisdomTeeth.com.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Franson. Trying desperately to hang on to my voice. Had like a cold over the weekend, and like I'm perfectly fine now, but like my voice is trying to give out every like 30 or 40 seconds. It's really frustrating.
Oh, I've had that before. It's really frustrating. Like you feel fine, but the voice, the throat's just not there.
Yeah, it just doesn't like me. I don't know what I did. But anyway, as I mentioned right before the break, former Aggie and longtime NFL kicker Jim Turner passed away at the age of 82. Played, I forget how many. He played. How many seasons did he play?
In the NFL?
Yeah, in the NFL.
That
was like the one. I have like a whole page of stuff from his career, and I didn't write down how long he played.
He played for quite a while.
From he was drafted.
Never missed a game.
Yeah, he was drafted in 1963.
228 consecutive games played.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it says he was drafted in 1963 by the Washington Redskins. He never appeared for the Washington Redskins. Oh, it's because So he was drafted in the 19th round, 259th overall, which today would have made him, like this year, the 259th overall pick was Mr. Irrelevant. But he, so he served as kicker and also sometimes quarterback at Utah State. He was one of kind of three. They didn't like have necessarily one set quarterback a lot of times back then, but he was part of back-to-back Skyline championship winning teams in the early 1960s. Was part of that 1961 team that finished 10th in the AP poll, the highest the Aggies have ever finished in terms of rank. As I said, he was drafted in 1963. He was picked up by the Jets in 1964. He played 7 seasons with the Jets, made a couple of Pro Bowls. And he won. He was part of the Super Bowl III winning New York Jets, the Joe Namath Nets that upset the Baltimore Colts and Johnny Unitas. He kicked 3 field goals in that game. He actually accounted for 10 of the Jets' 16 points in that game. He actually set and held a record for most field goals made in a single season for a while in 1968. Hit 34 field goals in a season, which stood as a record until 1983. So he was certainly a really good and prolific kicker. When he retired, he was the 3rd all-time leading scorer in the NFL, behind George Blanda and Lou Groza. Today, he's 31st on the all-time scoring list.
Yeah, he's part of that team with Joe Namath, with the Jets, where they weren't given a lot of credibility going into it.
Yeah.
He kicked the 3 field goals. He kicked it. Back then, they played at Shea Stadium. Apparently, very uneven ground. It's a baseball field, and he cooked a number of key field goals to help his team win.
And he kicked a 32-yarder, a 30-yarder, and a 9-yarder, which is actually impossible in the NFL nowadays, but it was back then because of where the field goal posts were. And then he also kicked the extra point. So he actually appeared in a later Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, but ended up losing that one. That was in 1978, I believe. That's what my notes say. Kicked a 47-yard field goal in that Super Bowl, but ultimately lost. So 2-time Super Bowl appearance, but only the 1 victory. So the passing of Jim Turner, he certainly left his mark in the NFL and certainly in Utah State history, was part of a major part of Utah State's history.
Yeah. Yeah, great NFL career. Multiple things that he did at Utah State. And it got us thinking about other past Aggies who had opportunities to play in the Super Bowl. Some won in the Super Bowl. Others just made appearances. And it's a pretty good list.
Yeah, I went on and I was able to kind of mass search players who appeared in the Super Bowl. I don't know, this may be incomplete in terms of players who were technically on an NFL team but did not play in the Super Bowl itself. So perhaps it could be incomplete, but I have a full list of players that went to Utah State that played in a Super Bowl. And so based off of this list I have, I came up with some trivia questions. I want to see how many, Eric, you would have gotten, or how many you can get. If you guys want to text in, I'll try and go somewhat slowly. I may not ask all the questions I have. We don't have that much time. But if you know the answer, 435-339-0321, if you guys can chime in and get it right. On the text line 896A, he says, it's sad to hear about Jim Turner. He was one of the first Aggie teams I got to see play. So yeah, he was probably a freshman on the team in 1959, but freshmen couldn't play, so he played 1960, 1961, 1962. So at least I imagine that's how it went.
Yeah.
That usually is.
Early 60s, and then a very long and successful career in the NFL. He's on the Denver Broncos Ring of Honor. But, really successful career, and one of many Aggies who went to Super Bowls or even won Super Bowls.
Yeah, so let's go through some of these trivia. So here's the thing. What is the number of Aggies that have appeared in a Super Bowl? And I'll say played in the Super Bowl. That's kind of the number I have to go with. 'Cause again, maybe they weren't on the active roster, but were on the roster, but didn't play. But how many Aggies have appeared in a Super Bowl?
Ooh. I'll say 10.
No? That's almost double that.
Really?
It's 18.
Wow.
18.
That's great.
Yeah, that's the number of. And then how many Super Bowls have had Aggies in them? So it can be slightly higher than 18 because some Aggies appeared in multiple Super Bowls.
Ah, okay. So how many Super Bowls have had Aggies in them?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'll say 10.
When I said it could be higher,
That was the hint. Oh.
It's 21. 21 of the, what are we at, 55, 54?
Yeah, we're up there.
It's a little under half. So you've had 18, so 18 Aggies have accounted for 27 overall Super Bowl appearances. That's what my list says.
Okay.
So there have been 18 Aggies, 27 Super Bowl appearances in 21 different Super Bowls. So there's some overlap. Now, here's the one question. This is closer to the guesses you were doing, so maybe you'll have a better chance. How many Aggies have been a Super Bowl champion?
So how many
Aggies have a ring? One actually has multiple rings.
I was just going to say, some could have multiple rings, correct?
Yeah. That'll be a later question.
Yeah, I think there's a player for the Denver Broncos who may have won it multiple times. So I'll say, I'll stick with my 10. That's my number to say.
You were close, so you took the hint. It's 8.
Ah, okay.
There are 9 total Super Bowl rings. One player has 2 of them. I also just asked that question now. Who is the only Aggie who is a 2-time Super Bowl champion? And 2305 has the answer. Don't peek.
The only Aggie who's won 2?
He won 2 Super Bowls. Technically, here's maybe a hint as to the era. He is a 3-time NFL champion. 2 of those were Super Bowl rings. 1 was not a Super Bowl.
Oh, so we're going back a ways.
This is 1960s.
Oh, gosh. Then I don't know.
2305 has it. Lionel Aldridge of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
He won Super Bowl I, Super Bowl II, and then there was an Aggie in Super Bowl III. It wasn't Aldridge. But Aldridge was also part of the NFL champion Packers in 1966, the year before the first Super Bowl.
Interesting.
So he's actually a 3-time champion. But on that note, who is the Aggie who has appeared in the most Super Bowls?
Because that,
this player actually never won a Super Bowl, but he's appeared in the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rulon Jones.
No. That's close. He appeared in 2. And I think he was teammates with the person who appeared in the most Super Bowls as an Aggie. He was on the Denver Broncos with this individual. And for at least one of the Super Bowls.
I don't know.
It says Greg Cragen.
Oh, Greg Cragen.
Yeah, he appeared in 3 Super Bowls with the Broncos in 1987, 88, and 1990. Lost all of them. A bad luck charm. The Aggies actually have a pretty bad record in the Super Bowls. 9 rings and 21. Sometimes they faced each other. So those are. Oh, and here's kind of a 2-for-1. Who was the Aggie? Okay, the most recent Super Bowl appearance by an Aggie, and the most recent Super Bowl champion who is an Aggie. Kind of a 2-part question there. Most recent appearance in the Super Bowl by an Aggie, and most recent championship.
Well, I would probably say Bobby Wagner in that case.
Nope, he is neither.
Really? Jarrett Bush?
No. Hey, so this is just because the Rams weren't in the Super Bowl last year, were they?
No.
That's why I was confused. I wasn't sure. I'm fuzzy on who's actually appeared in the last 3 Super Bowls in terms of order. The most recent Super Bowl appearance, according to my list, is Jalen Davis, who was on the 2022 Cincinnati team.
Oh,
they
right.
lost. So the most recent championship is actually a little. This says appearance. So at some point he showed up on the field or on the stat sheet, because that's where this list can kind of maybe be imperfect. Is they would have had, especially early on, they would have had to record some stat for this to know. So the number 27 appearances is probably lowballing it. There's probably slightly more. There's just not really a way for me to find out in the hour of preparation I did.
Because Cornell Green, how many didn't he appear in some?
He appeared in 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. He was in the 1971 Super Bowl where they lost to Baltimore. The Baltimore Colts, I'm assuming. Baltimore Colts, because Ravens didn't happen until the 90s. Right. And then he was on the Dallas Cowboys team that beat Miami 24-3 in the 1970. Wait, that's not in the night. I got thrown off because it says 1972 and they beat Miami in the Super Bowl, and that threw me off because 1972 Dolphins were undefeated, but this would have been the 1971-72 season.
Whoa, yes, right.
That's the weird thing about Super Bowls is the year they happened in, it's the back end of that season. So the 1972 Dolphins won the Super Bowl in 1973 calendar year.
Right. Yes, that's true.
It is always confusing that way.
8968. For the size of the Aggies program and the budget, they are about as well represented in the NFL as most teams.
Yeah, I was surprised by how many there were. When I pulled up the list and I scrolled down, I was like, holy cow, this list is long. There's a lot. And a lot of them have ties to those 1960s Aggies teams, a lot. But excuse me, I'm just dying over here.
Well, in one of the names, it's the arguably the biggest name in Aggie football history is one that we never mentioned. And he never got a chance to play for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Merlin Olsen never made it to a Super Bowl.
No. Yeah. He was on these dominant rosters, dominant teams, but never got to the big game.
Yeah. So just to answer the earlier question, then we'll go ahead and take a quick break. We're a little behind on breaks. But the most recent Aggie who's a champion, at least who appeared in the Super Bowl, Darwin Thompson.
Oh, right.
So maybe there was an Aggie on a roster, but he was the last player to appear in a Super Bowl as an Aggie and win it. So here's your trivia for the day.
Nice. Excellent.
2305, you get a gold star for knowing who Lionel Aldridge is. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back after this in the Full Court Press.
We all know moms rule the world, but dads are important too. Do something special for Dad this Father's Day. Pick him out a watch to fit his personality from Jerix. We feature watches by Citizen, Bulova, unique wood watches by Tree Hut, and our own one-of-a-kind custom brand Jerix fine jewelry timepieces. Or maybe your dad would like a tie bar, chain, bracelet, or how about a special ring with your name engraved on the inside? Let Dad know how special he is.
Jerix fine jewelry. Make it special, make it Jerix.
Forget the weather this summer with York Home Comfort Systems. Now's your chance to get local rebates, financing options, and industry-leading manufacturer-backed warranties on your new home comfort system. Plus, you can get up to $2,000 in tax credits with IRA 25C federal tax credit. Installing a York Home Comfort System's even more affordable. Maximize your savings and forget the weather this summer. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning Showroom is west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
No matter what the conditions, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle up and off your property. Now is the time to plan to make extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage and moving that old vehicle. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
It's summertime, which means it's vacation time. There's no better way to vacation than with your own RV. Bull Moose RV in North Logan has a massive selection of gently used RVs in stock. Choose from bumper pulls, fifth wheels, and motorhomes in a selection that'll make you dream of the outdoors. Don't forget, Bull Moose RV has an amazing service department. And if you're looking to sell your RV, they take consignments. Bull Moose RV, 1850 North, 600 West. Online at bullmooseRV.com.
Hi, this is Jay Broadbent. If you use a CPAP, need a walker or a wheelchair, or just need some assistance around your home, then this announcement's for you. Alpine Home Medical is opening a new store in Tooele. We're planning on opening our doors this summer. Check us out on social media at AlpineHME or alpinehomemedical.com to stay up to date.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Hello, I'm Zane Johnson, personal banker and operations manager at Cache Valley Bank. With nearly a decade of banking experience, I enjoy meeting new people and helping them with their banking needs. I have a reliable team who demonstrate the personalized attention and exceptional service you deserve. Come visit the Smithfield branch and ask for Zane, or give me a call to see what opening an account with Cache Valley Bank can do for you. I look forward to meeting you. Hablo Español, Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
This is Jay at Daryl's Appliance. When your appliance needs service, who should you trust? May I suggest a company with 50 years of experience serving locals? A company with factory-trained technicians with over 100 years of combined experience? A company that stocks thousands of parts to service your appliance? That's Daryl's Appliance. When you need your appliance repaired right, quickly, think Daryl's west on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Does Dad love quality German power tools? Well, then don't miss out on the Father's Day special at Industrial Tool and Supply. They've just expanded their offering of fine power tools, adding grinders, mag drills, nibblers, and shears. Save 15% off all fine products. You'll certainly bring a smile to Dad's face with these great power tools at unbeatable prices. You'll find what you need at Industrial Tool and Supply in Logan.
Industrial Tool and Supply.
Here's some great news. Beehive Pub and Grill just unveiled their new summer menu at the Beehive. If you know Beehive, you know they have some pretty amazing dishes. This delicious summer lineup includes delicious salads, noodle slaw, power bowls, specialty tacos, and they've added an amazing chicken burger. Go to their Facebook page to check out some of the entrees this summer season. Summer at the Beehive is available Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., and weekends 11 to 9. Beehive Pub and Grill, Logan.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Final segment here on the Full Court Press. We're going to have our, as we do every Tuesday, the stat that blew our minds and the player of the week. And now for the moment of truth. Can I hit the proper button?
Drum roll.
I don't know if this is the right one, but I'm going to hit it and see what happens.
Let's take a look at the numbers. It's the stat that blew our minds.
He did what?
On the Full Court Press.
Wow, that blew my mind.
There we go. I hit the right button. I didn't tell anybody what button I was trying to
We
hit.
didn't know what was going to come.
So you wouldn't have known.
Here it is.
I could have hit the wrong one. You wouldn't know. Stats blew my mind. Eric, why don't you start off?
We've talked a lot about the Athletics here recently. They're currently in Oakland, trying to get to Las Vegas. But they've actually come across a bit of a hot streak for their team. They've won 5 straight after entering this run with a .194 winning percentage. That's the most consecutive wins by a team to have an under 200 win percentage entering the streak since the Louisville Colonels did it back in 1895.
You gotta love baseball stats. That this hasn't happened since the 19th century. That's what's unique about baseball. You can't say that about any professional league in America except for baseball.
Last time this happened, people were still riding around in horse and buggies.
The date started with an 18. That's how long ago this happened. All right, so the stat that blew my mind, it's about a specific player. Christian Braun, he's a member of the Denver Nuggets title-winning team. He's a rookie this year. But let's take a look at his championship pedigree. He won 3 high school titles. He was an NCAA champion his final year at Kansas, his 3rd year at Kansas. And then as a rookie in the NBA, he's an NBA champion. And he appeared in 76 games as a rookie. So, a lot of championships. That's a lot of rings.
Wow.
He already has 5 rings from 3 different levels of competition. As one person definitely put it on Twitter, he should just retire. Just stop
Finish
it now.
while you're on top.
It's never going to get any better than it is now. All right, so that's the stat that blew our mind. Let's do the player of the week.
Time to see who the real MVP is.
If you have a good game, your game is going to say that. You don't have to say it.
Puts a lot of cool things in perspective anytime you're the first time doing something.
It's the Full Court Press Player of the Week.
Let's go!
All right, Eric, I'll let you start this one off again. Who's your player of the week?
I'm going to golf this time. Nick Taylor, the PGA Tour, he hit a 72-foot, 6-inch putt on the final hole, and that is the longest made putt on the final hole of a one-shot or playoff in PGA Tour victory, over the last 20 years.
Is this the guy whose buddy got tackled by security? Or is that something else?
I don't know, but 72-foot putt, 72.5-foot putt. That is insane.
That's a pretty good putt. I don't think I've made a putt longer than like 10 feet in my life. I probably have, but not very good at putting in my golf game. That's like my biggest weakness. I can get close to the hole, but I can never make it from very far away. My player of the week, I labored between taking just the obvious, going with Nikola Jokic, but I thought I'd just give the player of the week to the entire Denver Nuggets team. Because as much as Nikola Jokic has gotten a lot of praise, and I probably gave him my player of the week award like some other time, but the Denver Nuggets really deserve it. They, as I was waxing eloquent earlier, just waxing long maybe, I don't know about eloquent, but They really proved they were the best team. They finished it off strong. They could have, kind of given up in Game 5 and said, all right, let's just, win it. We'll win it in the next game. But they decided, we're going to win this now, win it at home, finish off the series, and they did. So, great job by the Denver Nuggets. That's my player of the week.
Worthy recognition. That was great team run. Definitely deserving. And unfortunately, I guess sometimes this happens. People start to celebrate these type of events and turn stupid. Apparently, there was some shooting that took place. People got injured last night in Denver. I don't know why people lose brain cells when they're celebrating a championship, but apparently that happened last night in Denver.
The one thing I saw is apparently the police initially their thought was it was a drug deal gone wrong, and maybe we're just in the vicinity. I don't know. I didn't read the full report, and when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, people need to have a few more brain cells.
Yes.
But anyway, hope you guys keep your brain cells and have a very good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Denver Nuggets have had quite an impressive run. The team finished with the best record in the West during the regular season. Nikola Jokic came in second in the MVP race, and last night the team took home the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The win gives Denver its first title in franchise history. And when you look at the roster GM Calvin Booth and head coach Michael Malone have put together, maybe it's only the beginning for the Nuggets. Jokic averaged just under a triple-double in the postseason, and last night's performance solidified the big man as one of the more unique centers of all time. The team is also armed with Jamal Murray, who's set to remain under contract until the end of 2025. Can't forget about the group of Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Bruce Brown Jr. And with the team's two stars set to enter their prime, we may not have seen the last of the Denver Nuggets playing in the month of June. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.